What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. All right, so after a historic performance by MSNBC on election night, in which for the first time in its network's history, it performed CNN in total viewership, in the last week, ratings have plummeted, falling off a cliff on MSNBC and CNN. So much so that when you look at the overall trend of these networks over the past several years, MSNBC's parent company, Comcast, is considering selling it off amongst other networks that they own as well. So this is the thing. Over the past several years, I would say, honestly, maybe the last 15 years, as social media has become more prominent, as streaming sites have become more popular, traditional network television has seen a decline in ratings and influence. Temporarily, MSNBC has seen a major uptick in ratings during this election campaign, election cycle between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump, to the point where on election night, for the first time ever, MSNBC's election night viewing audience reached over 6 million, a little bit more than CNN's 5 million, which it had never done before. It had never outperformed CNN. CNN has taken a major hit. 4 years ago on election night, CNN had something around 10 million, I think it was, viewers. So they've taken a major hit. But since election day, their audience is in absolute mourning. I guess, they're just not watching MSNBC. It's too painful, I guess. But whatever the case may be, MSNBC's ratings have absolutely plummeted. Overall, MSNBC's audience is down 23% since just 1 week ago. In particular, their primetime television programs. Their primetime television programs have fallen some 50%. Example, Joy Reid's show ratings are down 55%. Ari Mebler, ratings are down 50%. Chris Haynes is down 47%. Alex Wagner's ratings are down 54%. Morning Joe, now that's not prime time, but that's one of their staples, down 40% in the last week. Stephanie Rule is down 67% since last week. Andrea Mitchell is down 40%. And the average primetime viewership has fallen from 6 million, as I said, just a week ago on election night. The average viewership number is down from 6 million to 596,000. And when you take into account the fact that revenue is declining, but production costs stay the same, that's why you see on a lot of these networks, you see the firings or the termination of their highest paid employees. They're shrinking the employee pool, work pool, I guess I want to call it that. These shows are getting too costly. They're not worth the trouble, with what I'm saying. They're not. the cost of producing these shows is not met by success. They're failing. So as a consequence, Comcast, according to reports, is considering selling off not just MSNBC, but also CNBC, Bravo, E, Sci-Fi, the USA Network, and Oxygen True Crime. And according to reports, as I said before, NBC parent Comcast is exploring spinning off its struggling cable networks business, including left-leaning MSNBC. President Mike Kavanaugh said this past Thursday. Kavanaugh revealed during the third quarter earnings call that the media giant is mulling the creation of a, quote, new well-capitalized company owned by our shareholders and comprised of our strong portfolio of cable networks. And since then, it has been reported that Comcast is considering pulling the cord on its top cable networks, including MSNBC, CNBC, Bravo, and Oprah Winfrey's Oxygen. This surprising revelation came from Comcast president Mike Kavanaugh, as I mentioned before. They consider separating themselves from several of the top cable networks. And while Comcast broadcast network NBC and the streaming service Peacock will be spared from this proposed separation, it's a clear signal that the cable TV world is shifting dramatically, and Comcast might be the next major company to embrace that change. For years now, traditional cable TV has been steadily losing subscribers as millions of viewers cut the cord in favor of streaming platforms like Netflix, Hulu, and Comcast owns Peacock. With streaming becoming the dominant form of entertainment for many households, cable networks have been scrambling to keep up. Subscriber numbers have dwindled, ad revenue have taken a hit, and the high cost of content production has forced even the biggest media companies to rethink their strategies. It's no longer enough to rely on a traditional TV bundle. Consumers want flexibility, customization, and above all, streaming. And I can't help but also think that a lot of this has to do with the loss of objectivity when it comes to these networks. They're catering to the most fringed portion of our populace, while they will watch and will enjoy when the networks are throwing the red meat that they want to devour. But afterwards, after election day, there's no need to watch it anymore because, it was all for naught. It was all for naught. And at the end of the day, since they lost, they don't want to be reminded of the loss. So they're not tuning into it anymore. There's no point in their, I guess, in their mind. Another thing I saw, Chris Wallace left CNN. Chris Wallace, formerly of Fox News, left CNN and will be doing a podcast. Now, quite honestly, I don't know why. I guess maybe he's motivated by the Joe Rogans of the world and others. Maybe even Shannon Sharp. I don't know whether he even watches Shannon Sharp, but definitely motivated by podcasters. But, I don't know whether he has much of an audience. But that's another thing. It's social media. Social media has also taken taken a major bite out of the audience when it comes to those who want to get their news. Now, oftentimes there's misleading and misinformation, misleading information and just outright lies on social media, many distortions, but people tend to want to listen to what they agree with, and you can filter and search for things that you want to hear. There are content creators who will say what you want to hear, read um, reinforced your prior beliefs, and social media, I think, rules when it comes to political content. You know, and I feel nothing for these networks, none of them, raising down across the board. Fox News, MSNBC, CNN, but they're especially down for MSNBC and CNN. And I thought, honestly, that ratings would go up because that's what we saw 8 years ago. 8 years ago, when Hillary Clinton lost to Donald Trump, CNN's ratings went through the roof, which is partially why CNN went so hard on Trump, because they were catering to that audience. They were catering to that audience that was dismayed and bewildered by the results of the 2016 election. But that's not happening now. Some of it has to do with the way people get their news now. They don't watch traditional television anymore. Not really. They're watching social media, or they're listening to news from streaming sites. It's more accessible, and they just don't trust they don't trust mainstream media no more. And I'm glad, because I've been ragging and riding social media for so long. All of us, they suck. They're The fourth estate is very, very egotistical and elitist. They see no wrong in whatever they say. Uh, they can never be wrong. Um, and there is a such thing as the imperial media. They are uh, always right. They're always right. And if you disagree with them, then there's something wrong with you. Another thing about Joy Reid, nobody wants to hear somebody who, when you don't get your way, or you aren't told, do what you're told or ordered to do by the DNC elites, all of a sudden be told, that basically that you're scum. And she didn't use those words, but you got people like her and others telling you that, if you're a black man, then you should be ashamed of yourself for not supporting a candidate and all that. At the end of the day, that stuff, I didn't understand why they thought that would work, you know. But anyway, those people may be out of a job soon, because if Comcast sells, you know, it'd be funny if I don't think it would ever happen, but it'd be funny if Comcast does sell MSNBC and somebody like Elon Musk bought them. That'll be really really interesting. You know, I could see Donald Trump telling Elon Musk now to buy MSNBC and fire all of them and videotape them walking out of MSNBC or something and trolling them. But anyway, that's all I got to say about it, man. Tell me what you guys think. You know what, man? I used to love MSNBC back in the day. I used to love them. I used to love when it was, man, this is going back. I'm trying to remember them now. I remember when it was Keith Olbermann. What was his name? The one that passed away. Heavyset guy. Ed something. Ed Schultz. Remember, it was Ed Schultz, Keith Olbermann, uh, Jerry Natchman. That's going way back. Jerry Natchman. That's like the early 2000s. I think Jerry Natchman died like 20 years ago. Phil Donahue, when he was on there briefly. I liked MSNBC. It was liberal, but not nauseatingly so. It was left of center. They were talking about how the war was absolute garbage, the Iraqi war. By the way, all this crap about uh, bringing democracy to Iraq. I read somewhere. I don't know if it's true, but I read that the Iraqi government, is basically trying to make it legal. Well, you know what? I'm just going to put it like this: they're trying to make it illegal to do the unthinkable, to third graders. I'll put it like that. Yeah, you really brought democracy to Iraq. You know what I'm saying? Just disgusting. But anyway, tell me what you guys think.